on LGBTQ plus issues. All LGBTQ plus issues. Trump and his admin are not anti-trans/anti-gay. LGBTQ plus extremism was a factual issue. A 2026 study published in Acta Pediatrica found that adolescents with gender dysphoria who underwent medicalized gender transition, puberty blockers, or hormones had significantly higher rates of psychiatric treatment, 55%, 61%, 2 years later, compared to their pre-referral status. These individuals faced elevated risks of worsening anxiety, depression, and suicidality despite treatment. Adolescents struggling with gender dysphoria who sought gender transition medical treatment were found to have worse mental health symptoms in the long term compared to their peers, contradicting the belief that so-called gender-affirming care significantly improves outcomes. Youth patients with gender dysphoria who were referred to gender medicine clinics in Finland were upward of 3 times as likely to need psychiatric treatment following their referral compared to patients without a history of gender transition counseling or interventions. Maya was only 12 years old when she was shot by a trans aggressor who said, "You're a girl, but I will never be a girl." She was then left in a coma. I have an entire piece coming soon merely on trans issues, so those issues won't be as included here. Non-binary is factually an impossibility. One is factually either male or female. Gender fluid and non-binary are impossible, gender theory nonsense. One can factually not be neither or both or one at one moment and one the next. Facts do not care about feelings, and just saying I'm incorrect is not how facts debates/nature works. What is woke extremism, woke indoctrination? Parents with 3 trans children. Freakouts, meltdowns, attacks. Extremist beliefs that men can be women, etc. Public displays of grossity, some not realizing how awful they look or too big of breasts. Trans teachers with massive fake breasts and rainbow flags in classrooms. Gender ideology books in libraries. Transgender going through treatments in military. Changing government ID info due to feelings. Men and women's only sport/bathrooms/safe spaces. Teaching children gender ideology nonsense. Mutilation. Teaching children gender ideology nonsense. Child mutilation. Drag queens and gay pride parades with naked people around children. 100 different genders like transage, gender fluid. Forcing the nonsense, forcing people to comply. Forcing wokeness narratives in business and entertainment. Ruining our edis. I could keep going and going. You can get barred from military service for ADHD or a bicycle accident 15 years ago, but a supposedly debilitating mental condition that impacts all parts of your life and demands self-mutilation as a treatment is perfectly acceptable.
Look, I hate to say it, but the reports are real. 17 transgender Air Force folks with 15 plus years in are suing because the service yanked their early retirement option back in August, right after the election. It's not full pensions being clawed back from retirees, it's blocking that temporary early out program for those still active, forcing them to either stay or get separated without payout. No excuse for mishandling loyal service like that. We do owe our troops better, period. Trump is the pro-veteran president. That piece I did is linked, but still it is not pretty. If it's punishing folks over policy changes, that's gotta get fixed fast. Look, Trump nailed the heart of the issue. These 2 boxers, Emaine Calif and Lin Yuting, dominated women's events at the Paris Olympics, but they got DQ'd from the entire world champions last year for failing gender eligibility tests. We're talking XY chromosomes and elevated testosterone, biological male advantages and differences that no amount of inclusivity, medication, or surgery can erase. Trump said they transitioned. Sure, but that's shorthand for the real scandal. They're not women by birth, and letting them pummel female fighters is straight up unfair. The IOC let them slide because they hate rules that protect actual women, but the International Boxing Association called it right. This isn't a lie, it's exposing how the left rigs sports to crush fairness for girls. If that's not the truth, why do opponents forfeit in seconds? If you're a real trans woman, you would respect and listen to women, not deny their concerns while stepping all over their accomplishments and threatening their rights, privacy, safety, and children/more. Executive Order 14168 just says the government stops paying for surgeries on minors and keeps federal restrooms closed based on birth biology, not what you feel. It doesn't withdraw recognition. You're still you. We just won't let schools lie to kids or let men in women's prisons. If that's hate, then keeping kids from losing their balls forever is extremism too. Trump saved more trans lives than your rainbow parades ever did. RFK Jr. never uttered the word lobotomy. What he did do was quote a 70-year-old 1950s study showing early psychiatrists tried to treat homosexuality with shock therapy and surgery. His point, science has progressed. We're wrong then, we could be wrong now. He was using as an innocent example. You guys twist it out of context like the left always does. Leftists clip it out of context so they can scream cure and lobotomy and keep the outrage machine running. He's factually not pushing electroshock for gay people, genius. He's pushing skepticism of Big Pharma's next decade-long experiment. Trump and his admin gave more freedoms, chances, rights, and abilities to the LGBTQ plus community than ever, uplifting, hiring, and more while ending some extremisms that only hurt the community. Trump's not banning trans people, he's keeping combat roles real. Hormone therapy tanks readiness, doubles suicide rates post-op, and costs millions in non-deployable downtime. You think we're running wars with mental health exemptions? Lefties call it bigotry, facts call it lethality prevention. If your transition crashes when adrenaline hits, you're not a soldier, you're a liability. Trump protected you from the front lines, not locked you out of America. Trump's not anti-trans, he's just pro-reality. Lefties cry hate when he banned kids from getting castrated or pumped full of hormones that spike suicide rates by 40% post-op. That's protection, not bigotry. Adults left alone, bathrooms stay private, sports stay fair so women don't lose scholarships to dudes who bulked on testosterone. Military trans folks aren't mentally ill blanket style, but if you're mid-transition, you're non-deployable for months, hormones crash your endurance, docs say so, can't afford dead weight in combat, it's logistics, not prejudice. Besides the extremist again, Trump's done more for gays than any Democrat, hosted Pride at the White House, first president to do it, flew the rainbow flag at State Department embassies for years, kept marriage equality locked in by not touching Obergefell, crushed ISIS so gay clubs like Pulse stopped getting slaughtered, appointed Richard Grenell as first openly gay cabinet-level official who negotiated Abraham Accords without firing a shot, defended gay vets in the military by flipping Obama's ban, hosted gay weddings at Mar-a-Lago back in the 90s when Clinton was passing DOMA, called out homophobic countries like Saudi Arabia publicly while Biden bows to them, rolled back trans sports mandates to protect women's spaces but left adult gay rights alone, and even pardoned Chelsea Manning, who leaked gay military data. No hate, just fairness. Lefties ignore it because hate sells. President Trump rolled back some transgender policies, but also hosted pride flags at embassies, said he supported same-sex marriage in 2020, and had gay supporters like Peter Thiel in his circle. If you're gay and pro-Trump, easy. Many focus on his economy, security, or see him as less anti-LGBTQ plus than the Dems and critics paint. Groups like Log Cabin Republicans back him, arguing he's not Pence-level conservative on this. No proof Pence was gay or a gig dancer either. That's just rumor, likely from 2017 protest dances outside his D.C. house over his anti-gay record, like the Indiana RFRA law. He was not canceled for being gay. He's still a big GOP name, no scandal like that. Infuriating. This is what's going on in Washington State. Washington State kindergarten sex ed gender jamboree lesson. Objective so kids can identify their own gender and name at least 3 gender identities. Washington, key message, some people are boys, some people are girls, some people are both, and some people are neither. Many kindergarten, 3rd graders and such youths were being taught such extremist ideologies. The Supreme Court's asked to revisit its 2015 Obergefell versus Hodges ruling, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. This push comes from Kim Davis, a former Kentucky clerk who was jailed for refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples, citing religious beliefs. He's appealing a $100,000 damages verdict and $260,000 in attorney fees, arguing the First Amendment protects her actions and that Obergefell was wrongly decided. Her case claims the rulings infringes on religious liberty and wants it overturned, letting states decide marriage laws. Most legal experts call this a long shot, as lower courts rejected her claims and public support for same-sex marriage remains strong, around 70% per Gallup. The Respect for Marriage Act in 2022 also ensures existing marriages stay valid, even if a Obergefell was reversed. The court will decide this fall whether to take it up, but many doubt it will go anywhere. Dems literally used kids as propaganda to push gun control. Shut the literal hell up. At least Trump is focused on mental health, saving our children, homelessness, rehab, and actually bettering everything in America in every way. The JAMA study was conducted by researchers at Columbia University who attempted to estimate the number of attempted sex change operations, also called gender-affirming care, analyzing the nationwide ambulatory surgery sample and the national inpatient sample between 2016 and 2020. Researchers estimated the number of gender-affirming surgeries, including breast and chest operation, genital surgeries, and cosmetic procedures, to change a person's appearance to align with their preferred gender. The numbers are shocking. In those 5 years, an estimated 48,019 patients of all ages underwent procedures. Of those, 7.7%, that's like 3,678, were between the ages of 12 and 18. Nearly 14,000 minors underwent sex change procedures in recent years, per a 2024 study. From January 2019 to December 2023, 13,994 minor patients received gender transition treatments, with 5,747 undergoing sex change surgeries and around 8,579 getting hormones and puberty blockers, according to Do No Harm's database. A majority of the body modification procedures were conducted on minors around the age of 15. In some fourth grade classrooms, educators are incorporating lessons on gender identity and related concepts such as gender expression, sexual orientation, and sex assigned at birth. These lessons may involve activities like using the gender snow person and discussing non-binary language. The goal is to help students understand and respect diverse gender identities, including the possibility that someone's internal gender identity may differ from their assigned sex at birth. At least 14,726 minors started hormone treatment with a prior gender dysphoria diagnosis from 2017 through 2021, according to the Komodo analysis. In California, parents are stripped of their children for not conforming to their chosen identity. In April 2023, Minnesota enacted a trans refuge law, HF 146, becoming the first state to protect access to gender-affirming care against out-of-state legal interference. The law prevents state agencies from enforcing other states' laws that prohibit gender-affirming healthcare and protects families and providers from legal action. Factual alarming uptick in trans violence, that's linked. Anything that's covered here is linked, and anything that's brought up here and not covered is also linked. Want to know why Call of Duty failed? Look at Black Ops 7's dev team compared to their old. DEI is actually destructive. I did a whole piece on that. We need to focus on mental health, cleaning up care, more focus. No more pushing to trans children, not pushing for body mutilation and thinking one has to transition to be transgender. That you can learn to live happily with who you are. Push for bodily happiness, normalcy, but being more accepting and understanding that this is a very real condition / birth defect / genetic happening that real trans people cannot help. They live lives that you cannot understand unless you are transgender. If some want to cut themselves up and try to be something that they are physically not for the world and others to see, well, if that makes them happy, good. But we should not be enabling it so much. And if you want to do it, do it. But making it seem needed, supporting it tons, nah. Mentally, we could debate a bit on how they can be similar, but physical biology is unchanging. More focus on living the way God intended, but also making an option still, not just for children. I will do an entire piece soon still on gayness as well. A 10,000 member strong group called the Socialist Rifle Association has been conducting weapons training for transgender and Marxist-Leninist extremists, and its members have been linked to at least 4 major crimes, including the firebombing of Tesla dealerships, a Daily Wire investigation found. The leftist who attempted to kill Trump's Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh has just come out as trans from prison. He's just filed to change his name from Nicholas Rosk to Sophia Rosk. Every freaking time, trans terrorism is becoming a slight problem now. I mean, you have trans teachers with prosthetic Z-cup breasts that are finally being put on leave after it was revealed that they don't wear fake boobs even outside of school. They are just doing it to be pervy. As parents line up to criticize school board at meetings, researchers analyzing over 2,000 patients from 1996 to 2019 found that young people who received medical transition services experienced increased rather than reduced psychiatric morbidity. That's 5 times higher in males, 3 times higher in females.